Live, we here. UFC Lincoln was exciting last night. Pretty upset that it took so long for a fight night. I figured they would start a little bit early, 10 o'clock, 10:30. Start time for the main card was a little crazy, seeing how there was five fights, 5, 6 fights on the main card. Um, I don't know. I think they should have started that a little bit earlier, but still a great card. Justin Gaethje getting the win over James Vick, first round knockout. I had Vick in that. I did pretty good. I'll start out by saying this. I did pretty good in my picks, but James Vick fucked it up for me. Still fuck with you, James Vick. I think you should get a great fight next. I don't know what you said uh, after the fight. I haven't seen anything of what you said, but we'll talk about that in a second. Um, Knocks out James Vick, first round. So I was 0-1 there. Michael Johnson gets a split decision. Andre Feely, close fight. Um, uh, I couldn't tell you which way I judged it because I was honestly getting ready for the Justin fight. I was writing a little bit, and I was getting ready for the Justin Vick fight. So I wasn't watching it that thoroughly. I just kept looking up, and a couple of times I kept looking up. I seen Michael Johnson on his back with Andre Feely had Michael Johnson's back, and I was like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" So that was a little crazy. Court or the so that was a close decision, and that was followed by no Courtney Casey and Hill was followed by Michael Johnson was a close decision. Courtney Casey versus Hill was a very close decision that everybody that I've seen MMA Twitter thought went to Angela Hill. Um, Again, this was one of the ones where I was coming off that last body punch knockout, and I was writing a little bit about that. Uh, Getting ready for the Justin one towards the end, so I didn't really see too much of it. But I agree from what I seen, Angela Hill was winning from what I seen. I don't know what happened in between the lines, but those were two. I hate to say it because we don't talk about it much, but I watched pretty much every fight in the prelims and sat through them all and analyzed them all. And then when it came to the uh, main card, we weren't doing a show. I was just writing a little bit, so I just wrote out the good fights, the ones I happened early. So I missed a couple of other ones. Um, so I can't pronounce his name, but Divianson or whatever knocks out John Moraga with the body punch. Was real exciting in the second round. John Moraga uh, looks to be on some kind of a downfall. Uh, this just proves it losing to the number 14 guy, and Moraga was number 6. Uh, so I lost that pick. The Angela Hill pick, which should have been one for me, and the Justin Gaethje pick, I picked Michael Johnson. I picked the next fight in line, which was Eric Anders versus Tim Williams, which I believe Tim Williams was winning the fight um, prior to the last couple rounds. Maybe Eric Anders was getting it back, uh, like the last round and a half, so it was kind of even. And then they're both getting tired. Tim Williams getting the exchange where they get on the ground. He looks to be getting up, leaves his hand off the ground. As soon as his hand leaves the ground, uh, Eric Anders connects with a big high kick and knocks him out. Controversial, but when you slow down the replay, his hand is clearly as soon. And Eric Anders didn't plan it. Eric Anders threw the kick, so you can't blame him one way or the other. He threw the kick, but you could see as soon as his hand leaves, his fingertips leave, he gets kicked in the face. So it was a legal kick, um, very close in time, but legal kick, and very exciting kick. It was the last 17 seconds of the fight, 18 seconds of the fight when he kicked him. Uh, Immediate knockout. As soon as he kicked him, he walked away uh, in the last 17 seconds of the fight. So you can imagine it was pretty. I mean, before that, it was a great fight. Mickey Gall in the prelims got a submission um, over George Sullivan, and we'll talk about. I guess we'll go from the bottom up on the matchups. Great card overall. Next week, September 8th, uh, Dallas, Texas. Uh, Tyron Woodley, Darren Till, Valentina Shevchenko, Nico Montano, 2 title fights. We won't be doing nothing. Got the little girl for the fight. So we won't be doing nothing for the fight. We will see you guys on Tuesday to talk about maybe a little bit of breakdown for the fight. And maybe some picks. We'll make our picks. But Mickey Gall, after he won, called out 3 people. He called out Randy Brown, who beat him last year in Madison Square Garden, 2017, and called him out for Madison Square Garden November 2/30, so November 3rd or so. He called out Sage Northcutt, who he already beat in a close decision, which may be why he called him out, because it was a close decision. And he called out Diego Sanchez. Diego Sanchez is not taking that fight. He's only got a couple fights. I mean, Diego Sanchez say he fight forever, but to be realistic, Diego Sanchez has got maybe a handful of fights left. Handful, maybe a little over a handful. You know, he's not gonna waste them on Mickey Gall, man. Maybe but you got to get some bigger names under your win column than just fucking George Sullivan to be like, and you lose to fucking Randy Brown, to call out Diego Sanchez. So knock that off. You already beat Sage Northcutt, so unless he wants that fight, I'd knock that off. All right, you got Randy Brown, New York, on the 3rd. You already lost. Let's see if you can win. If you don't, starting like over again, bro. That was the dumbest call out you could do, bro. The dumbest. Move past it. See what the rankings are. If you're still close to Randy Brown, skip over and pick somebody else. Try to fight somebody else, because if you get the rematch and you lose, you're getting kicked to the back, son. You might even get cut. You lost to this guy twice, and you guys aren't even contenders. You know what I'm saying? This guy doesn't even beat nobody who's anybody. Sorry, excuse me, gotta take a drink. This guy don't beat nobody who's anybody, and he's beating you twice. Kicked. You know what I'm saying? You're done. So take that risk if you want, buddy. I know you want the fight back. You like that. You want to go after that loss, but it's a big risk on your part. Not late in your career, very early, and you're taking a big risk. But whatever. Do your shit. If I say you got anybody, it's Randy Brown from that call out. That's about it. That's my pick for your call out. That's my pick for your next match is Randy Brown. Better win. You better change something to win, brother. The next person that I say I would like to see fight next, Eric Andrews, after his fight, called out Elias Theodoros, or however you say his name. Good fight. It was a big fight right there against Tim Williams. You got that platform. I would have called out a higher ranked guy. In my opinion, if I was you, I would have called out Uriah Hall coming off a loss. You're a big name guy. They made a big deal about you coming out of college football and this and that. So it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to call out a bigger name guy, because they're already promoting you a little bit. You called out Elias Theodoro. I don't know. I would have called out Uriah Hall. My pick for you is I hope you get the Uriah Hall fight. Maybe you're not ready. You're not ready, so you didn't call him out. But I like to see you fight Uriah Hall. But I guess if you get the Theodoro fight, you get it. But my fight pick matchup, what I would like to see and what I would think the UFC would like to see. So how I make my picks is I kind of give you what they say they want. I give you maybe an example of why that would work. And then I tell you why I think what the UFC would pick. And why, I think they would try to push him to Uriah Hall. Not to say, like, if they sit down and talk to him and he says, yo, I'm not ready, they're not going to do it. They're going to give him Elias or whoever, But if they're like, yo, it's time, that's a couple more spots up. He's coming off a loss, but it's still Uriah Hall, that'd be a big fight. It'd be a big fight. And he went from being a main event with Lyoto Machida and then coming to the opening fight on a fight night. same thing where he fought Machida. So I think this could spring him to like a co-main of a fight night or some shit like that again. If he fought Uriah Hall, you know, a semi-small fight night maybe in one of their hometowns. I don't know where the fuck either one of those guys are from. Alabama, maybe. I don't know about shit. But yeah, Uriah Hall, my first option. Go ahead, fight Elias if you want. Probably get like fucking main event of the prelims at best. But I don't know what you're doing. It's all right, buddy. You fight whoever you want to fight. Michael Johnson. I didn't get to see who he called out. I didn't listen for it. But I like 2 fights. Excuse me, guys. It was late night last night, but I like 2 fights in particular that he could possibly have. Darren Elkins is doing pretty good right now. I like to see him fight Darren Elkins, who's a little up there, in the rankings. Um, as a rematch because he just lost to Elkins as his first fight at featherweight. Maybe another fight at featherweight, or tries to rematch Elkins. Or maybe he goes back up to 55, rides his wave of having this win right now where Feely says, oh, I have a win, goes and fights Gaethje again because Gaethje's coming off a win, gets himself right back in the contendership at 155 by trying to get a rematch with Gaethje. Gaethje don't turn down fights. Go to Twitter, try to storm that fight up. He's got momentum. You got a little bit of momentum coming off of this win. Try to get that fight. That's what I would pick for you if I was in your corner, trying to tell you what to do, Michael Johnson. I would say go after the Justin Gaethje fight. Go back up to 55. Get yourself back into contention. That's your way fucking. You're getting me all fucking tongue twisted. You're getting way closer if you fight a rematch with Justin Gaethje, who you just lost to a couple years ago, 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah, that's a bigger fight than your first featherweight loss. It's a bigger fight. Go after that fight. You know, 110%. Don't go after the Darren Elkins fight. But if I was UFC, I would sell that point. I would sell the whole Darren Elkins fight because it's a rematch. They're both coming off wins now. So I would sell that perspective of it, but as a fan perspective and as like telling you what's best for your career, Michael Johnson, Justin Gaethje, just coming off of that big win against James Vick, automatically puts him. I don't know what he was ranked before, but I mean, Alvarez, Poirier, Ferguson. He's probably not going to get the Ferguson fight like he asked for. So, I mean, we'll get to that in a minute. Get to what Justin Gaethje asked for in a minute. But I say Michael Johnson, that's your best bet. Is to call out Gaethje as much as you possibly can before he gets another fight book. Because it could possibly be you. And at that point, you're right there again at the lightweight. You go back up to lightweight. If you win that fight this time, you're right back there. You're in the top 5, top 6 of lightweight. You're right there. Well, you're not even ranked in featherweight yet. So, and you're fighting Andre Feely, and you get a split decision. So, I mean, I would take a chance. I would call him out nonstop until he gets a fight. James Vick losing to Justin Gaethje. Dan Hooker is looking for a fight like crazy. So if you want to stay at 155, Dan Hooker is looking for a fight like crazy. Alan Quinta's not looking for a fight, but I mean, that just means that he's not in no rush to book a fight. So that could be something you work on it in time. Maybe Alexander Hernandez is the option later on. I say you move up. I say you're 6'3", bro. Go up to welterweight. If you want to, you got knocked out. So if you want to wait until February, January, nobody's going to hate you. January, February, March, nobody's going to hate you. Maybe if Donald Cerrone wants to keep going after November, maybe you go after Donald Cerrone fight. If he wins against Mike Perry, even if he loses, you go after a Donald Cerrone fight. Alex Oliveira and Neil Magny are booked for September 22nd. So only about a month away. They're booked to fight. So depending on what happens in their fight, somebody gets knocked out or however that goes, maybe a matchup with one of those guys later. But that would be I'm not even going to make a match for you, James Vick. I would just say go up to 170 and maybe wait for Donald Cerrone because that's a good matchup. Or maybe the winner over Oliveira and Neil Magny, or maybe a loser. It doesn't matter. Just one of those three guys would be a good introduction to 170 for you. And you're not, and it seems like you could be a bigger guy, but you're just a tall, like lankier guy, which in the 155 division is great. And but at 170 you got to put on a little muscle, and I think you can do it. So I'd say that's your best move. Go up to 170 and try to fight up there. Justin Gaethje, the winner of last night, first round knockout, which I predicted completely wrong. I said third round knockout by James Vick. Sorry, Gaethje. What do you want me to tell you? He calls out Ferguson. Ferguson's already booked to fight Anthony Pettis in October, so that means you're waiting till. I mean, best case scenario, Tony Ferguson wins, and for some reason he doesn't get the winner of, or for some reason, like, all right, this goes deep because in my opinion, Conor McGregor is gonna fight Nate Diaz next, no matter what. If Nate Diaz loses to Poirier and Conor McGregor wins, Conor McGregor's fighting Nate Diaz. I'm telling you, if Nate Diaz beats Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor loses to Khabib, Conor McGregor's fighting Nate Diaz next. It's happening the next fight, no matter what happens. Pretty much, I guess. I mean, if Conor loses, people are speculating that maybe he retires, but I'd say that's the next fight is Nate Diaz. So, uh, in an ideal sequence, I would say what happens is Khabib beats Conor. Conor doesn't quit. He fights Nate Diaz, which would put if Ferguson beats this, Ferguson's right there to fight Khabib. So we would have to see what happens in October, but I don't see that fight happening. I think he should give up on that dream. Two not signed guys right now, not signed to fight, are above him are Kevin Lee and Edson Barbosa, uh, which could be a future matchup. Kevin Lee's calling for Alan Quinta. Alan Quinta says it's only going to be in Madison Square Garden. I like Kevin Lee saying he wants to be on the October card with McGregor. What's October? What are we in? August, we're almost in September. October's 2 months away. Maybe you come in on a short notice against Kevin Lee in October, Justin Gaethje, because you're a gangster. And when you do, maybe one of them falls out. And I'm telling you right now, the fans remember the most recent thing that happened. And what the most recent thing that happened was Gaethje knocked out James Vick. They don't remember. Well, even if they do, you lost to fucking Ferguson, bro. So the last thing they remember is you losing. Oh, you beat Barboza after that? He might beat Barboza. Kevin Lee beat Barboza? Yeah. But it was way long ago. So we remember Gaethje first. So what the UFC is going to think about is they remember Gaethje first. So Gaethje might get the call to fight in the main event before you do. That's what I was saying earlier in this. I said like a last episode that saying that you want to fight somebody on that card is way riskier than saying I want to be a fill-in for that fight. Because then if they lose that fight, you're the guy. As long as you make weight, you're the guy. But if you say you want to fight, now you got a whole other guy across from you. You got to think, how is his promotion standpoint? Like, they just lost their main event. How is that guy that's facing me? Is he more, like, is he worth more than me? Does he talk better than me? Do people want to see him fight more than me? Yes, Kevin Lee. People want to see Justin Gaethje fight way more than you. Go ahead, go after the fight. I think that'd be a great fight. But if it happens October 6th and a fight falls out in the main event, it's gonna be Gaethje, not you, bro. And that would be hilarious to me. I think the most reasonable thing would be to thank you, bud. Thank you, fans of Kobe Corner. Thank you for agreeing. But I think the most reasonable thing for him to do would be sit back on maybe a Barboza or a Alain Quinta. Just in the meantime, maybe in the November, maybe goes for the November card with Alain Quinta, or maybe a December card with Barboza or something like that. Canada or some shit like that with Barboza. But I'd say he just sits patiently in line, but you never know. Maybe he gets lucky. Yeah, you don't want to give up on the dream. Justin Gaethje fight for the title would be amazing. It's hilarious to think about that guy who just came off the 2 losses against Alvarez and Poirier sitting in line. Alvarez might be getting cut, and Gaethje's about to like sneak around the corner and might be getting the Kevin Lee fight in fucking October, and then what happens? Khabib falls out and they give it to Gaethje, and it's Gaethje versus Conor. Gaethje wins the belt. It's nuts, right? Could happen. Anything could happen. Uh, I'm rooting for him though. I was rooting against him. I was rooting for James Vick, but if he goes against Conor and he's an underdog like that, I'll definitely root for him then. Go out there and take them shots on your forehead and bust Conor the fuck up. He needs one of those kind of fights, like that Nate Diaz fight. That's it. That wraps it up this weekend. I didn't get to see the main events and the co-main events, but 864 Fighting Championship at Greenville, South Carolina. I was talking to them about getting press credentials over there, and they were full for this one, but they're gonna get me one when they go back to Greenville. They had a fight in Columbia, but we will be possibly covering some of their fights. I'll be watching the main event, the co-main events, and pretty much all the main card today. I got the little thing where I could watch it. Shout out to those guys. Those puts on great fights. They had a little after party at Twin Peaks downtown. But UFC event was crazy, man. Bare knuckle boxing was crazy. I don't know if anybody watches that, but bare knuckle boxing was out of control last night. I think. Fuck, I always forget this guy's name, Joey Beltran, whatever, got fucked up. And he was like, normally I'm the Hamler, but today I was a nail. Damn, sucks to be that guy. Sorry, buddy, you could probably beat me up, but don't come after me. I'm just talking about it. You're a great fighter. I watched it because I wanted to see Joey Beltran. So that's the only reason I'm talking about it. So shouts out Joey Beltran. But we out for today. We'll be back on Tuesday to talk about the September 8th Tyron Woodley Damn Till. Until then, fan of Kobe's Corner. Shouts out to this guy. Everybody go check out Kobe's Corner. These guys are doing big things over there. There will be a comment to me. Good people, man. I always knew I'd be a fan of this guy because he was a fight guy. He made fight videos, and then he switched to make NBA videos. Those are my 2 favorite sports, basketball and mixed martial arts. So I was like, I know I'm going to be a fan of this guy. So shouts out to him. Shouts out to this page, the fan of Kobe's Corner. Everybody that follows the barbecue pit movement, man. Shouts out to you guys. We'll be back Tuesday, guys. Holla.